As a teacher of English language and then also an expert of phonetics and phonology, we are at times required to develop our own material, a material for the teaching of phonetics and phonology, pronunciation to our students, right? So how to create relevant material? In this session, I'm going to tell you some of those techniques, some of those methodologies which you can use for the sake of, teaching pronunciation, teaching the sounds of English and even other languages, okay, to your students, right? So let's see the possibilities. Remember that there are always specific requirements by the students. Specific requirements like just to judge that which is the area which is weaker and how can you create some environment for your students to focus on that particular area, right? So just look for observing that weaker area of your students and then give some time to frame activities, to develop your own material. That's a very good, way of enhancing the proficiency of your students, the proficiency of their English speaking, their abilities to work with their pronunciation, and then make them very, very proficient English speakers. That's ultimately the goal of a good teacher. Okay, so you must be teaching pronunciation separately, okay, with the help of the techniques which you learned within this course, and then also looking for additional supporting material for the teaching of phonetics and phonology. So your focus should be on pronunciation, and then you must be planning well in time to enhance the proficiency of your students. Okay, you should work ahead of your planned activities, so that you are a very active, very effective teachers. And there is a big resource with you now. That's the IPA, International Phonetic Association. So you can go the page of IPA, look for some text, and while teaching your students the IPA symbols, you would ask them to transcribe that how they would pronounce it, okay, using those IPA symbols. And you would involve dictionaries in that. And for IPA transcription, you can do some other activities which are very, very effective. Like you can just let your students listen to an audio, right? Or a movie. It may be video or maybe audio, right? Like the way which is done in the testing through the IELTS and TOEFL, okay? They would let you listen to a particular passage, okay? And then they would ask question on the basis of that. So you can do in the same way, you can let your students listen to an audio. And then on the basis of that audio, you would ask question. And you can also ask them to transcribe what they are listening. You can give them the option of repetitions in the beginning. And then when they are good transcribers, then you just reduce the repetitions, okay? So these are the possibilities. And a very good resource for the students of English is movies. Let your students watch movies, standard, very good movies. And documentaries are a better option. Documentaries by BBC, documentaries by CNN, documentaries by National Geographic. These are very good documentaries. And you can give them assignments, like their individual assignments, their group assignments on the transcription of those documentaries. That's a very good activity, and you can do that. Similarly, as a teacher of English, you should try to develop materials, although on the basis of movies, documentaries, music, news items, okay? You can develop items which are from real life. Real life, like dialogues. Like in movies, there is always a context. And that context is based on the real life situation, right? Like real life like situation in movies. Of course, those are, the majority of the movies are based on fiction. But you can also take your students outside the classroom so that they can interact with people in the market by using English language skills and then by enhancing their proficiency. So these are the possibilities. You can interact with their listening and writing interaction. Okay, like whatever they listen, how can you make that work in their writing or in their speaking? Okay, so you should, as a teacher, try to interact with the four basic skills, and then provide them the opportunity to enhance their proficiency. And the best would be if you provide them with the real life examples and the language, which is the part of everyday language.